So in light of the Hail Mary glitch being patched, I thought I'd make a quick video on the top 3 ways that we can use target passing to beat the defense in kind of legit ways. So I think this year target passing was, kind of looked forward to, and then when we kind of broke it down, we realized it was probably too much for us to handle, just too many moving parts in such a quick game. But I don't think it's as bad as we made it out to be. So I think now that you especially have such tight throwing windows with these 91 zone coverage players, and then they all have, mid 90s of speed, they really close down on that ball. It makes it really hard to get those passing lanes that should be open in when you think about it. But when you kind of look a bit deeper into it, you'll see that target passing actually allows us to get into those tight windows there. So for the cover 2, I'm talking about behind the cornerback and in front and to the side of the safety. Cover 3 down the seam, or cover 4 maybe just in front of the safeties or down the sideline. So yeah, I'm going to go over those top 3. Now there's probably a lot of other ways that we can do this, but these are just 3 that I like. Gets you big chunks of yardage against. I'll show 1 for cover 2, 1 for cover 3, and 1 for cover 4. So we'll start with cover 2, just because that is, one of the tightest defenses in this game. And I'll come out in gun tray open here, but this is really a conceptual approach. You can do this out of anything. And I'll just come out in Salem. And for defense, we'll pick Tampa 2. And then you guys all know that all my defensive backs are above 91 zone coverage. I made these players to have the same ratings as they are in Madden Ultimate Team. So you have Eric Allen, Landon Collins, Sean Taylor, so on and so forth. Okay, so yeah. So essentially, we know that we can't actually hit that hole there, just because that jam animation from the cornerback does such a great job that he wins that animation every single time, and then your wide receiver is forced inside, and then by then your safety, who actually doesn't have any middle of the field responsibility. Last year, I think he was a bit more. Here, he kind of just shoots out right away, and then once you throw that ball, he'll get his speed burst from his 91 zone coverage rating, and then if he's fast enough, which most of these guys are, he's going to pick the ball off. So it'll look something like this. So best case scenario, it gets into your wide receiver's hands and you don't throw the interception, but by that time you have 1 or 2 defenders ready to make a play on it. And the odds really aren't in your favor. Now, if we use target passing, the best way I like to do this is fade the slot receiver. So that's why I like coming out in trips. So we will have a vertical from the number 3, and that's going to occupy the safety a bit. I was just saying how he doesn't kind of have an inside responsibility. He doesn't. He's going to let this route go, but I think it slows him down a little bit. We'll do a fade from the slot, for the number 2, and then we'll do something with our number 1 wide receiver just to occupy that cloud flat a bit better. Same thing with this route here with Kellen Winslow, is that they're not right on him, but I think it still slows them down a little bit. And yeah, if it's not obvious, you want the trip side to the field here, so we have more room to work with. And what we'll do is just highlight Antonio Brown, though with target passing, you don't necessarily need to highlight the wide receiver before the play. You can switch to them. So once you snap the ball, you're going to hold L2 or LT if you're on Xbox. And if you want to pass the ball to the intended receiver, you just press their button, to the highlighted receiver. And if you want to switch it up, you just pick a different one. So if I want to go to X, I'd tap X, so then he's highlighted it, and then I'd tap X again to pass it. Usually in these cases, in the 3 cases that I'm showing here, you have 1 hot read. So that's going to be, for this one, the number 2 receiver, Antonio Brown on the fade. And if that's not there, we're going to cancel out a target passing and go to something else. So whether that's a second route, which I won't go into here, you could probably develop that on your own, or if you want to scramble. So, and then to cancel out, all you have to do is just tap the target passing button again, and you're free. Okay, so the cover 2 will look something like this. Okay, so if you notice, what I did there is once I got into target passing, I double tapped L1 or LB if you're on Xbox, and that'll get you into low passing. So all of these concepts that I'm showing today are target passing plus plus the low point passing. So we know, a lot of the pros and a lot of the better players are starting to add that to the game, the low passing, to really make it harder for the defense to get to it, because you're kind of you're kind of putting in a position where really only your wide receiver can get the ball. And then also they don't really react as well. But yeah, you see, so the safety's not all the way out. Our wide receiver gets jammed a little bit. This will get better. This will be better if they're baselining. So they won't get jammed here, and then he'll get up the field a bit quicker. And you'll see the cornerback kind of hesitates a bit. And then all I'm doing is, at this point you can't see the target passing, but what I'm doing is I'm leading it just in front of him, like just a bit in front of him. Actually, I'm picking a spot in the field and waiting for him to get to, maybe 5 yards before it. And then I'm leading that outside, not too much because he doesn't react really well. So if you lead it outside too much, he's not going to be able to get there. So just enough, and then you'll possession catch it and take the ball in. But yeah, so just like that. So yeah, it's definitely going to take a little bit of practice. So you don't want to, do this for the first time in game. So like I showed there, it actually probably wasn't 5 yards ahead of where he is at the time I throw it. It's almost right where he is, and then just a bit to the side. And just wait a bit, wait a bit, A, to get more yards, because that's what you want to do, and B, just to create a little bit more separation past that cornerback and let that safety carry that vertical route just a bit. Okay, so that's cover 2, and I like this a lot. Now these, in general, you're going to go to these if your opponent is in cover 2 a lot or is in cover 3 a lot, when you know almost for certain that they're going to be in this approach. I mean, again, it doesn't matter, because you'll have a hot read, and then if that hot read isn't there, you'll check out a target passing, and then you'll go to your drag route or whatever you do against cover 2. And I would go to it if, in a lot of these situations, 3rd and long or 4th and long, people like to just go into Tampa 2 and they'll just sit in coverage, because really there are almost no deep beaters against cover 2, and then they don't need to blitz you because of that. So that's something I'd keep in your back pocket for sure. Okay, so let's go down to cover 3 then. So we'll go into the same formation in the same place, Salem. For cover 3, you're really looking for this seam route from the number 3, from the tight end here, where it's kind of not a perfect vertical, not a perfect streak. He's kind of cutting it inside a bit. You'll probably find that in a lot of different formations. So I like this one a lot. So Salem, and we'll go to cover 3. So yeah, you really don't need any setup here. You're going to be keying on this Winslow right here. That's going to be a hot read. And then you just want something a bit underneath just to occupy that user a bit. So maybe a drag from the backside receiver here. And then what you're going to expect for cover 3 is your user defender or your opponent, they're going to pick either this guy or this guy to user. So one of these hook curls. And usually what I find is that they're taking the defender that's on the strength of the offense. So if you're on trips, they're going to be on the hook curl that's on the trip side. Okay, and then they'll have their deep halves instead of the deep thirds for their outside corners. And then their flats will be cloud flats. Okay, and then they'll just use their stick work inside, and then hopefully their 91 zone coverage safeties and corners are going to make plays in the ball. Okay, so what we're going to do now though is we're going to use this Winslow route. Now again, he's not going to carry that route all the way up the field, because he knows that his safety there is there to break on it. So he might play it a little bit. So say if he's on Khalil Mack here, he'll play it a little bit down the field, but then he'll jump on anything underneath. Okay? Now, of course, if he carries it all the way, once he starts to key on what you're doing, you should have some things underneath. So like the drag route here from Beckham, or like this deep dig from AJ Green here. So let's just throw this route stock without any target passing or without any low balls or anything like that, and just see how that free safety reacts to it. So that's, again, free safety the master Sean Taylor. So he's got speed, 91 zone coverage, and all the good stuff. Okay. So now with the target passing approach, what we'll do is we'll just, again, highlight our hot receiver. So in that case, it's our number 3 here at tight end, Kellen Winslow. And if we have an opening, so if the user defender doesn't carry him all the way, we'll go to him. If he does, then we'll check out of target passing and we'll go to one of our underneath routes. So, and I'll just get off of him just so we can simulate that. Okay, and we'll just put a drag route from Antonio Brown here. So that'll just suck him down a little bit. Target passing, low ball. Okay, and we can even lead that upfield much further. So we can wait, another second or two. Get 20 yards more or so. And we got ourselves, what was that, 30 yards, 40 yards. Anyway, so that's cover 3. Yeah, what I like about that is, again, you have one really simple read. Is the user carrying with you? If he is, then check out of it. If he's not, throw it. Okay, so for whatever reason, that sweet spot and then also the low pass modifier, that free safety doesn't react as well. And then you can just click onto your tight end and make that possession catch. Or, in some cases, you might even be able to rack catch it around him. This route is kind of weird. I think especially if you smart route it, he makes his cut a bit later. But anyway, I won't get into that. That's a bit more involved. So now you have a way against cover 2, you have a way against cover 3, and we'll show it against cover 4. So tray open. Now what you want to look for cover 4 is essentially just a wheel route from your number 2 receiver. So again, this works in my opinion better in trips, but you could probably work your way in most of the formation. So I'll pick drag verticals here. And we'll come out in 4-3 normal cover 4, but we know that if somebody's running cover 4 in this game, it's probably the cover 4 drop show 2 out of 3-4 odd. I'm just not in that playbook, so you'll have to bear with me. But yeah, so what we want to do is we're going to exploit that outside linebacker there. So usually that's going to be a pretty heavy linebacker. Okay, so that's going to be setting the edge for their run D. So it's not going to be somebody with 91 zone coverage. It's going to be somebody with really high block shed, probably a lot of speed or whatever, but most likely not somebody with 91 zone coverage. So we're going to streak AJ Green here and just push that cornerback back. And that's really all we have to do. So what they're going to be in cloud flat coverage. And that cloud flat is going to carry that wheel route all the way up the field. But if we target pass it, it's going to be kind of like a back shoulder throw. There's nothing they can really do about it there. And even that cornerback, you know that even with his back turned, he can react immediately and then react faster than the wide receiver does and pick the ball off. In this case, he doesn't. So I'll show you how we do it. Okay, so practice makes perfect with this one again. But all you need is just that wheel route, and you need a streak to clear that cornerback. So again, you're always going to be seeing cloud flats. Actually, if they leave it in quarter flats, what'll happen is that that quarter will drift underneath that wheel route. So you just have to wait for your wheel to kind of clear them a bit and then throw it. But 95% of cases, it's going to be a cloud flat. So they're going to carry them all the way, and you're just going to throw that back shoulder. Okay, so make those part of your game plan. I think that, we ridiculed this target passing for quite a while here, but I think we're in a stage of the game here where a lot of the passing is really tough to do. I think this can open up things deep against some of these popular coverages. Okay, so if you like that one, make sure to leave a like, and we'll see you in the next one.